Reading from the Mandukya Upanishad. This is our WebEx class number 6 on chapter number 1 of this very famous and very difficult Upanishad. We are going to discuss today the different facets of Atman. Well, what a challenging task it is. Actually, my hairs stand on end just to think what daring we should have to present the Atman with the help of human language. A hymn or a stotra written by none other than Shankaracharya himself is known as Parapuja Stotra. It runs like this. I will not remember all the lines, that is a bit big hymn. I will just quote a few lines from it. Shankara says that Atman is limitless, Atman is changeless, Atman is infinite, Atman is the truth. So then he asks this question, how can I limit the Atman at one place when he is all-pervading? So when we go to worship or remember or meditate on such an Atman, then how can we limit that limitless? Then Shankara says, how can I offer him a seat when he is the entire universe? How can I clean his feet and hands when he is the purest of the pure? How can I offer him a bath when he is the cleanest of the clean? How can I offer him a dress when he has the whole universe in his belly? How can I offer him ornaments to decorate him when he is already beyond adjectives, when he does not have any form? How can I offer him a lighted lamp when he is the self-luminous witness which illumines the lamp itself? How can I go around him when he is all-pervading and without end? How can I offer him a farewell when he is spread inside and outside of everywhere? This hymn goes further and further, but we have to remember who is saying this. It is Shankaracharya, who is one of the greatest geniuses the spiritual world has ever produced. We know this. Still we have to ignore it as it were for the time being. That's what baffles our intellect. A challenging job indeed. So we shall take the help of this great Shankaracharya and try our best to guide us into this adventure of self-enquiry. In the beginning, I want to express my regret for my inability to present today the in-depth discussion in a much simpler way. I had been thinking on this, forming and reforming my ideas, and intellectually satisfying arguments are being thought of so that I can make the study as easy as possible. so that the common people who are not trained in this type of formal logic and reasoning may gain or derive some benefit out of it. But maybe I cannot make it any simpler without diluting the great ideas. We have to do justice to the lifelong sacrifices of legions of truth seekers who labored hard in order to bring the knowledge of our own self to us. At the same time, these great benefactors of humanity kept it in their mind that we are the very people who would raise doubts and questions when their realization would show that we are not fallen or sinful human beings, but we are the divine self who have just forgotten their immortal identity and their inheritance. And you know, I have informed you in the beginning of our study that this Upanishad is not going to tell us stories. It will discuss serious stuff, heavy stuff. Let me try my best. Please be with me. Om Tat Sat. Last time we ended our class with the discussion which was based on this question: how can I, a tiny individual, be everything? We could not give the answer because it was a proposition. In Sanskrit it is called pratigna vakyam. So the details, excepting a hint, are not given there in the second mantra. It starts from the third and last part of this second mantra itself, like the Upanishad says, Soyam Atma Chatushpat. Sa Atma, that Atman which was said to be everything by the Upanishad, that Atman, that conscious principle, that I am, that Atman has got 4 quarters, 4 facets, 4 dresses, 4 adjuncts, like that. What are the 4 quarters? They are using this word quarters because the word 4 has been used. Otherwise, in simpler term, we can call it 4 dresses. 4 dresses. Then, to discuss that point, we have to study mantra numbers 3 to 7 together from the Upanishad. And all these mantras of the Upanishad are there in the first chapter. We will start with the third mantra of the Upanishad proper, which deals with the first quarter or prathama pada, or the first dress. This will help us to understand other 3 padas a bit easily. More or less they are based on the same type of logic or reasoning. We are using the word dress. Let us remember what Shankara says in that wonderful hymn that I have just quoted in the beginning. What did Shankara say? How can I offer him a dress when he has the universe, whole universe, in his belly? Where do I get a dress that is bigger than this universe. Sri Krishna says in the Gita that ekam shena sthito jagat. The whole creation occupies a very tiny part of that infinite consciousness. So let us just go to the mantra number 3, and it deals with the topic that is Prathamo Pada, the first quarter of Atman. This first quarter or first facet, as I have just said, it refers to maybe the first design of dress, the first design of the dress of Atman. The forefather of the Atman are going to be discovered through an analysis of the 3 states. This is called Avasthatraya Vichara, analysis of the 3 states. What are those 3 states? Waking, dreaming, and deep sleep states. It means that for all practical purposes, the analysis of Atman, that is Atma Vichara, in Mandukya Upanishad is being done with the help of the analysis of the states. So, the analysis of the Atman is being done with the help of the analysis of the states, because the states are the symptoms or signs that are available to us. That proposition obviously reveals a fact that this consciousness or Atman is somehow associated with the states. So if we catch hold of the states, then we can reach the Atman. Sri Ramakrishna gives a wonderful example. He says, a stone or block of wood is tied on one side of a chain, and it is submerged in water in the river. The other side of the chain is tied to a post on the bank. If you want to reach the block of wood or the stone, then you have to hold the chain, and link by link you have to go down until you reach that block, because the chain is available as a connection. So these 3 states, once again, they are waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. They are state of ours. Let us take up the first state, Jagrat Avastha in Sanskrit, which is called waking state. We know it very intimately, and it seems to strongly validate our own existence, at least within the time limit of our birth and death. We very much depend on the evidences from this waking state. That is why we think that the waking state is true. In our waking state, there is the waking state universe, which includes all of us who are analyzing this state. Let me repeat, in our waking state, there is our waking universe, Jagrat Prapancha, waking universe. And this waking universe of us, it includes all of us who are analyzing this state. So we are within this waking state and we are trying to analyze this state. This is our position. Well, it is not only waking state universe, But any such universe of our experience can be divided into three participants, between three participants: the subjects, the objects, and the instruments by which the subjects interact with the objects. So, three participants in each universe, in every universe: subject, object, and the instrument by which the subjects interact with the objects. Then I am the subject and the only subject. If I am looking at my universe, what are my objects? Whatever I experience, they are my objects. But one thing is clear, that I am not my own object. I am the subject. I remain the subject always. As long as I have been experiencing any universe, I am always the subject. So, excluding me, whatever exists are my objects. You too are my object. When you speak of your universe, then I become a you, an object, and you become the I, the subject. This waking state universe that we are discussing can be, for the sake of our reasoning, also divided into three participants or parts: the waking subject that I am, the instrument of the waking person that is used to experience the waking universe, and the whole waking universe as the objects. The waking instruments are, the body, mind, and the sense organs. So I, the subject, experience this universe as the object, using the instruments which are the body, mind, and sense organs. Now let us analyze. Who is the subject or the experiencer or the waker in the waking state? Who is the waker in the waking state? There are three things: subject, object, and the instrument of transactions. Now we catch hold of the subject. Let us analyze this subject. Who is this subject? Who experiences this universe? Who is called the waker in the waking state? It is none other than our consciousness, identified with our mind. When we are experiencing the outside universe, means our own objects, then we are doing that with the help of consciousness and mind. These two things should be there: consciousness plus the mind. That is called the subject. This combination is called the subject. This subject is functioning through the physical body. It includes mind and senses, and therefore it is experiencing a physical universe. Of these three participants, the mind, which is the instrument, is inert or matter, jadam, lifeless. The universe is also matter by itself. So, the argument goes that there is a conscious part and an inert part. A conscious part and a lifeless or dead part. In what? In the subject. Who is the subject? It's I. It's the inquirer. It's the experiencer. The experiencer is composed of two principles, consciousness and matter. Similarly, if we go to the dream state universe can be also divided into three parts. The dreaming subject or the dreamer, the instruments of the dreaming person, and the whole dream universe, subtle universe. In this state also, the dreamer is the same consciousness which is identified with the mind. The same mind works in dream also. Therefore, the subject in the dream state is also a combination of consciousness plus the mind. What did we say earlier? The mind is jadam, means dead matter. Consciousness is conscious. So again, the dreamer is the subject which is a combination of consciousness and matter. And it is functioning through the mental or psychological body or the subtle body. And this dreamer is operating the dream instruments and experiencing the dream universe, not the physical universe. Now let us compare these two states. Okay, two universes, the waking universe and the dream universe. We will find that the subject, the object and the instruments used for operating in the dream world are changing. The subject, object and the instruments in both these universes, waking universe and the dream universe, the whole set is changing. Well, it will create a kind of complication. We will have to address this. Now we accept this because when the waker sleeps, then the dreamer's world starts and the dreamer operates there. Therefore, the dreamer and the waker, they are two different principles. But as I have said, the waker subject is a combination of both consciousness and matter. The dreamer subject here in the dream world is also a combination of consciousness and matter. Therefore, we have two sets of equations. In the waking state, the consciousness is associated with the set of. In the waking state, the consciousness is associated with the set of the waking subject, the waking object and the waking instruments. Consciousness is there in the subject. The consciousness is associated with the subject and with the help of the instruments interacts with the objects. In the dream state also, the same consciousness is associated with a different set of dream subject, dream object and dream instrument. two different sets. Now we can say that in both the states, the consciousness is the same, but the sets of subject, object and instrument, which together is called the dress, is different. They are different. The consciousness is the same, but the two sets of subject, object and instrument which creates this universe, waking universe and the dream universe, they are different. These are two different fields. That's what Sri Krishna says in the Gita. The famous 13th chapter of the Gita talks about the macrocosm and microcosm. Kshetra kshetragna vibhaga yoga. The differentiation between the field and the knower of the field. These two universes, the waking universe and the dream universe, they are two different universes. They do not interact with each other. They are two different fields and two sets of three things make each universe. Two sets to make the two universes. Each has got one set of three things: subject, object, instrument. Waking state, waking subject, waking object, waking instrument. Dream state, dream subject, dream object, dream instrument. So when the fields of functioning differ, the names of those fields also differ. Like the waker, the dreamer, the names are different. The names are different because that is why we are able to differentiate between them, to identify them. In the first field or the waking state, the individual subject consciousness or Atman is called Vishwa. In the second dream state field, it is called Taijasa. Vishwa and Taijasa. We will try to refer to them as waker and dreamer. But we have to remember that these two are the names. They have meanings. That is why they have been used. So, but for our easy understanding, I am not going into the detailed Sanskrit definition of them. We will always remember when I refer to Vishwa, we will know that it is the waker in the waking state, experiencing the waking world using physical instruments, because that is the physical field. Similarly, when I refer to Taijas, we will immediately understand that I am referring to the dreamer in the dream state, experiencing the dream world using subtle instruments. I think one thing is not yet clear, or rather confusing till now. I am calculating four things. The consciousness is associated with the sets of, what did I say? The consciousness is associated with the sets of subject, object and instruments. So, the consciousness, number 1, is associated with the sets of number 2 subject, number 3 object and number 4 instruments of operation. And again, I am saying, already I have said that the subject means consciousness plus mind. The subject means and includes consciousness and the mind. So what am I doing? I am counting two consciousness. I counted 4 because I took first the consciousness and the subject. Consciousness 1, subject 2, object 3, instruments 4. Now consciousness 1 and the subject also is consciousness plus mind. So I am using consciousness 2 times. First consciousness, second consciousness plus mind. So are there two different consciousness? Can we have two different consciousness? Atman. Atman is one, indivisible, eternal, unchanging, infinite. How can there be two Atmans? So why are you calculating two consciousness? If you raise this question, well, your observation is right. But I am also right. That I have to prove. I am also right. It needs clarification. It is difficult to do so, but not impossible. Now, let us take the example. In a full moon night, you stand outside of your house and you can see each other's faces. It is because the moonlight is illuminating your faces. The moonlight is similarly illuminating everything around. Now we make a statement. What is that? The moon is illuminating my face with its light. That is true, that's what we say. Now, this set, what I have said, this sentence, it creates a set. This set has 3 participants. The moon is illuminating my face with its light. This is a statement about the moon world. So, what are the participants in this state, in this set? The moon, number 1, the subject, the light, the instrument, and my face, the object. So we get 3 here. We have only one light, and we accept that this light is called consciousness. So, the moon, the consciousness, and my face. It seems like that. So, there are 3 things, 3 participants, the subject, object, and my face. I don't divide this moon into 2. This moon plus light and light again and my face, I don't say that. So you know it is so plain, so simple. The moon plus the light and my face, that makes this state, this set, and also the moon state. Okay, so you are right. But what I am telling is, now let us analyze this. My statement is like this. The light of the sun is falling on the moon and illuminating it first. The light of the sun is falling on the moon and illuminating it. Isn't it right? If there is no light of the sun, can you see the moon? The moon has no light of its own. The mind has no consciousness of its own. So my statement is, the light of the sun is falling on the moon and illuminating it first. then the same sunlight, now called moonlight, is illuminating my face. Isn't it true? Now what is the set for me? The sunlight plus the moon. Here I take the moon to mean the moon plus sunlight. So the sunlight plus the moon plus moon's reflecting ability plus my face. How many are there? Not everything will reflect light, but the moon is reflecting. So there is ability to reflect that light further. So therefore the sunlight, number one, the moon means moon plus moonlight, sunlight. Number two, then moon's reflecting power, then my face. What do I get? I get 4. Can you deny this? Now I know, and therefore do not differentiate between the light of the sun and the light of the moon. They are one and the same, having equal power to illuminate. But I am calling it moonlight. So I am right. But there is a nice thing about it. When we are saying that the moonlight is illuminating my face or our faces, we are not seeing the sun. We are not seeing the sun. That is why we have to accept the truth discovered by science and calculate things in that way. We have to accept this. The sun is not visible, but the science has taught us that the sunlight reflects on the moon and that illuminates my face. There is a funny conversation between two people. Of course, it is a joke. One person said, "You cannot send a probe mission to the sun because it is too hot. The probe vehicle will melt long before it reaches the sun." The other one enjoyed the fallacy in the reasoning. So he smiled and said, "That is why, my dear, you should think of sending the vehicle at night. At night there is no sun. Send the vehicle at night to the sun." Therefore, both of us cannot be right at the same time. Cannot be right. But still, in a very peculiar way, both of us are right. In a very peculiar way. We know this. We accept this. We know that it is not possible that both of us are right. But still, in a peculiar way, as we had to argue so far, we have seen that we thought both of us are right. And it is true until and unless we have realized the truth that there is the sun whose light is actually illuminating my face. It is not visible. The consciousness behind all these states are not the consciousness of the subject. The subject has dependent consciousness, derived consciousness. Now, you have a physical gross body which is different from my physical gross body. We turn our discussion to this idea. You have a physical gross body, I have a physical gross body. Hence, we have two different names, but the Atman in you and in me are the same. This has to be proved. That is the idea behind all these things. But suppose you, the same you, are operating through the gross physical body and senses, which is called the waking state. Again, suppose you, the same you, are operating through subtle mental body. This is called a dream state. Now, you cannot count me that how you are different and why should our names should be different. But you are yourself experiencing two states. You are the same person, but you are in two different states in two different times. In two different states in two different times. So, you, the same you, are given two different names depending on the times and states. The waker and the dreamer. Or in this Upanishad, you are called Vishwa and Tejas. Vishwa means you are the waker, Vishwa. You are the dreamer, Tejasa. But you as you are the same consciousness. Well, the names cannot be translated. We have to remember that. That is why I am always trying to stress on this point, that we have to remember that these names are they have definitions, and they have big definitions. But for our sake, we will try to shorten those names and call them waker and dreamer. It is like calling you by your full name. You are no more Nico, but now Nicholas. No more Nico, now Nicholas. Even if she or he or you or I consider each one state separately, even if our states are different, but our names remain the same, Vishwa or Tejasa, waker and dreamer. These Vishwa and Tejasa, they are philosophical names. And it does not differentiate between whether you are in the waking state or I am the waker or he or she is the waker. But we have only one name, the waker or Vishwa. Like when anyone who is admitted in a hospital will get a common medical name. What is their name? Patient. Anyone. He, she, they, man, woman, white, black, everyone is a patient. So, please remember it for now that the individual waker is called Vishwa and the individual dreamer is called Tejasa. I said for now, because later on we will see that they are no more individuals. Now we have three states of our experience in the course of a day, also in the whole life, waking, dreaming and deep sleep. These states are common in all times. But in all the three states, one thing is common there, and that is the common factor, consciousness. So, Panchadasi says, Masabda yuga kalpeshu gatagamyesvanekadha nodeti nastameti Esa Atma or Chaitanyam Swayam Prabha. Masa Abda Yuga Kalpa. In all divisions of time, every moment, every month, every year, every age, the same. Sambit Esa Swayam Prabha. That Sambit, that consciousness is always the same in all the states. And I am the subject in the two states. So I am the subject which repeats everywhere. So I am there in all divisions of time. Suppose in the waking state, I am the waker. The waker means I, the consciousness plus the mind. That means when we say the word waker, we will immediately imagine that it is referring to consciousness plus mind, two in one. We have to do that. Any time when I refer to me as I, the waker or dreamer, I have to remember that I am referring to a combination of consciousness plus matter or mind, two in one. It is not singular. Now one has to, or we have to keep on understanding that this consciousness is there in the subject together in the with the mind. This now earlier I said consciousness plus mind. Now try to highlight this consciousness. This consciousness is always there together with the mind. But it can remain without the mind also. That is the truth. The mind cannot have any functioning power without this consciousness. But the consciousness can remain without this mind. Even though we always count this consciousness with the mind to form the subject. Is it clear up to this? We have to always highlight this, that the consciousness which is being referred to. Then we can remember that this waking state requires 4 things for its validation. Now that is easy. The pure consciousness. Now I will use the word pure. The pure consciousness plus 3 players, the waker, the waking objects, and the waking gross body with the sense organs. That means the pure consciousness plus the waker means consciousness plus mind. And similar will be the composition of the subject in all the 3 states: waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. Let us remember the sunlight and moonlight example. And do not accept the proposal that we will send a probe mission in the night. Now let us consider the sentence we learned in one of our earlier classes. What I wrote and showed it. I know that I know an apple. It will be so easy to understand this now. I know that I know an apple. Now let us replace some words in this sentence with their intended meaning as we have got now. I know that I know an apple. I means what? The first I is pure consciousness. Know means witness. I witness that. I means the waker. Waker means consciousness plus mind. So I means the pure consciousness witnesses that the waker knows. I know an apple. The waker knows or cognizes an apple. Apple means it is a representative of anything and everything in this waking world. Now let us reform the sentence to suit our states. The pure consciousness witnesses that. The pure consciousness witnesses that the waker knows an object in the waking world. Who is this waker? Consciousness plus mind. Always we have to keep it in mind. This waker is a combination, is a composite. It is not single. But before that what I said, that will remain common, you see, in all the states. The pure conscious witness or pure consciousness witnesses that the waker knows an object in the waking world. This is about the waking state. Now the first part remains the same. The pure consciousness witnesses that. Now in the dream state it changes. The dreamer knows an object in the dream world. And when we talk about the deep sleep state, then the first part remains always same. The pure consciousness witnesses that the sleeper knows in sleep. Then what do we get? We get I, the self, as the pure consciousness, am the common factor in the three states, but the objects that are experienced in each state change. So the consciousness remains the same, but the experiences vary. This consciousness is called by different names when it is associated with different states. But it is only the consciousness which is the common factor in all the states. The consciousness does not change in the states even though the experiences change. Therefore, for the sake of our understanding, we will give name to the subjects in the three states. Thus, we called the waker Vishwa, the dreamer Tejasa. And similarly, in deep sleep state, we will call the sleeper as Prajna. These are the three different philosophical names of the same subject, consciousness plus mind. Why do we give different names? The names are different because the fields are different. Fields of work are different. Suppose you joined a company as an worker, suppose as a clerk, and you got promotion, you became an officer. Name changes, clerk, officer. I said the clerk is always clerk. And all the people who are working at that level, they are all called clerks. He, she, they, I, you, all are clerks. Similarly, when we get a promotion and become an officer, we are called officers. When we become manager, we are called managers. So our fields of action changes. Therefore, we have been given these titles, dresses. These are added features, dresses. And these dresses and added features are responsible for different and new names. They are responsible, not the consciousness. The waking state has the added feature, and therefore it has got the name Vishwa. Dream with its added feature, Tejas. Deep sleep with added features, Prajna. We have to remember that these Vishwa, Tejasa and Prajna are included in their respective states. Like when you wear a dress, you are there in the dress. The states are dresses of the subjects, and the subject is there in the dress. This we have to remember. Vishwa has got a waking dress, Tejasa has got a dream dress, and Prajna has got sleep dress. Therefore, Vishwa, Tejasa and Prajna can be called dressed Atman. Atman with dresses. The same Atman with different dresses. There are three dresses. So the first dress is called first pada. Second dress, second pada, second quarter. Third dress, third quarter. What is the fourth pada? The fourth pada is going to be called the Nirupadhika Atma. Atman without any field or the attributeless Atman. Unqualified Atman. Atman in its purest form. That is the fourth pada, fourth quarter. I mentioned that the pure consciousness witnesses that the subject knows an apple or objects. This is called fourth pada by the Upanishad, and Gaudapadacharya calls it Turiyam. So we have four facets of the Atman, or four padas of the Atman. I think it is clear up till now. So we have come to the end of our time. I will stop here. We will take up further discussion on this. We have to recapitulate these points once again. We have to repeat it in order to create an impression in the mind with the help of our intellect. This way we can practice contemplation. The intellect should understand these separations and let us transact in this world with such convictions, impressions. Then the transactions in the world will not make us dance with their tunes, however accurate they may appear to be. We will know their temporal value, and we won't be overwhelmed by them. On the other hand, we will also know, at least theoretically, that we are not changeful. And therefore, we do not need to take our situations as permanently modifying our nature. Our situations cannot do any harm to us. And these situations cannot make us any different person. We are the same Atman always and everywhere, because we are infinite. So it will be nice if you can listen to the YouTube discussion with your kopfhörer, that is headphones, keeping the eyes closed. This will drive the ideas very much deep inside you, and you can see yourself how you are different from the changeful intellect, mind, body, and the outside universe. We will still go deeper in our next discussions, but for now I say thank you very much.